Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Mystery beers. That's right. Upside down, roof working, something or other. Mystery beer. Courtesy of my boy Steven. We all love mystery beers. I think we all do. We all love when we get them wrong, which I do quite often. Especially now they don't do them as much. We're going to dive into this sucker and see where we end up. Anyway, give this a pour. Okay. What are we dealing with here? Knee-jerk reaction. I'm going with like a Tamave Pivo. I know on the pour it's really, really dark, but the way it poured out of this can, it's not super viscous and it's not super duper dark. I just got a vibe to it. Not a big head on it, so that might kind of change my mind. But just on the pour, we'll see what's what. I forgot to turn my little light on here. There we go, better. So yeah, wrapping. Yo, I dig it. And beer-wise, yeah, it definitely looks the part of dark lager, to be honest with you. Just because if I give it a swirl, the head comes back in, it is, you know, it looks, on screen, it looks way darker than it actually is. If I hold this up to some kind of light, it just shines right through it. So, definitely looks the part. Doesn't have that viscosity you'd expect. So I'm looking at something, you know, dark lagery, Czech dark lager, Tamave Pivo, something along those lines. It could even be like a maybe a black IPA. We could even go in that direction, but definitely malt forward, and definitely has this little caramel color to the head to it. So something with the malts. Let's see if I get a nose. What is that? I feel like there's something obvious in the nose I'm not going to get, so I'm going to look like a fool, but I feel like I'm getting a lot of chocolate malts. I feel like there's a small smoky component to this too, like almost like a little bologna-esque kind of smokiness to it. So I'm getting like a little bit of smoky jams, but really just this big chocolate malt that has this touch of like a vanilla kind of vibe to it. I don't think it's a vanilla added. I don't think it's like an oated thing. I think it just might be my brain thinking weird stuff. I think it's just the way the malts are coming off in combination with that little bit of smokiness. I'm thinking vanilla. Sure. Roasted malts and smokiness. That's going to make you think of vanilla, but that's what I'm thinking here. Maybe there's a foeder involved. I don't know. But, I mean, that vanilla portion of the show, that smoky portion of the show is very, very minimal. If I'm going to call it out as a third or fourth player in the beer, at least aromatically, it really is a malt forward beer. And I don't get a big precursor to hops here. I might be leaning like a little smoky jam, a little smoked dark beer. Something along those lines. Nothing too crazy, nothing too aggressive. We're going to find out way more about this beer in the taste than I think in the actual nose. But yeah, low ABV jams here too. I think we're dipping in around maybe max like mid fives or something like that. Let's dive in. Cheers. What is this beer? This is a weirdo beer. There's something biting about this beer. I mean, I might even call this a smoked Czech dark lager. It's kind of where I'm going for this. Because I'm getting a hop presence here. I'm getting a little sharp bitterness to this. I'm getting sharp bitterness to this for its ABV level. Again, I think we're dealing in the mid fives here. You get this. Let's start from the beginning and talk about it proper. First thing that hits me is this subtle smoky characteristic. Nothing too crazy. A little flabby, Schlenkerler-esque kind of kielbasi smoky, but more in like a subtle bologna kind of thing. Nothing too hyper aggressive. There's a bitterness here. It comes off very much Czech Pilsy as far as bittering. That's why I'm going for a smoked Czech Pils kind of vibe to it. It could be some weirdo smoked beer that I've never heard of before that, breweries nowadays, it seems like the very kind of cool thing to do is like look in history books to try to find up some obscure beer that was made once in some place of like Romania, and then you make it, and then people are like, oh my god, they found this crazy smoked beer I never heard of before, and then everybody makes that beer and then it goes away. It might be one of those kind of beers. but it comes off lager-esque. It comes off very crisp, very clean, very like it's not crispy because of the malt base and the way the smoke comes off and then the hop bittering, but you can tell. I'd be infinitely surprised if this is not a lager. And it's those chocolate malts that are really the core of it, that's holding up its the whole portion of the beer here. Because when I talk about those hops, I talk about that smokiness. I talk about just those portions show are kind of ancillary players. Even though they're a little bit more showy than the malt portion of the show, the malt portion of the show here is the sturdiness of the beer, is the bigness and richness of the beer. And then it's just that, again, that lager, hops, smokiness portion of the show makes it fun. I might go as far as to say there might be maple in this. I think I'm reaching at this point saying there's maple in this. Wait. See, I was very sure of myself in the last mystery beer. Steven sent me two. The first one I was very, very like, is this beer? I think this is not specific beer, but I think it's this brewery's kind of beer, and this is what it was. And it wasn't really close. I called it like a bittered kind of English feeling ale, and it ended up being a rye kind of malt, relatively close ABV ale. So I was confusing the spiciness of the malt with like a tannic kind of herbal kind of hoppiness. This kind, I don't think it's from it, but I kind of get like, now that I said the words smoked maple. I think they did Von Trapp did a Stowe style smoked maple. I think kind of reminds me of that. Do I really want to go maple on this though? Nah, I think I'm wishing that it's there. I'm just gonna go with somebody's 5.5% smoked dark lager, Czech edition. Let's see where this is at. Masking tape. We hate the masking tape, Steven, which is not going to prevent him from putting it. Actually, I brought my super sharp scissors out here. I forgot that I had them. Oh no, I found the end. Because that's the thing. Masking tape is easy to get off if you find the end. It's just finding the end is infinitely difficult. Most of the time. So what do we have here? Ah, Schlenkler. Okay. That makes sense. Is this the one I had? Oh, the Schwarzbier. I haven't had the Schwarzbier yet. That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. So much sense in the world. I'm really curious about the ABV on this now. 4.2. So I was way off in ABV. So no, I've been chomping at the bit to actually try this. And I just haven't found it in my area. I had the rot beer, but didn't have this the Schwarzbier, which was, like, again, it's been something I've wanted for so long. So thank you very much, Steven. So this is Schwarzbier from Aachen Schlenkler. This is their Alderwood Smoke, product of Germany, Schwarzbier. On the back here, it says, historic smoke beer for the brewery. And for our Schlenkler Earl Black Lager, we dry the malt over a fire made of special alderwood instead of beech. Alderwood has a fine smoky character and is nuanced and complex. A high roast malt content, yeast, robust aromas, and dark, almost black color, 4.2%, and is one of the most last traditionally made smoked beers. Aachen Schlenkler Rauschbier is a passenger in the arc of taste by slow food, whatever that means. 4.2%, so I was off on ABV. I should have went lower, but man, this is really good. This is really, really good. This is by far and away. Let me walk that statement back. This is by far and away, I'm not walking it back apparently, the least smokiest dark Schlenkler beer. That's how I'm going to frame that for you. Because their classic Helles is like less smoke than this, but it's much lighter beer. But as far as their darker beers, again, we're talking about a lower ABV than, I think they typically hit at, so it kind of makes sense there. But it's still epically well made, and honestly, might be one of the most drinkable Schlenklers I've had, because it gives you that, again, that dark lager, Czech a la dark lager, because of its, there's no date in the can, of its ABV level. Or what was I going to say? No, I was going to talk about importing on this is Be United. So they probably tankered this in and canned this at Be United, which is the way they do it. And some people think that's weird. I think it's actually a better way to actually do these beers than can them over there and bring them over here. Regardless, it's one of the more drinkable Schlenkler beers, and I'm super glad I got to try it. Thank you very much, Stephen, for this. It is one of the cooler beers that I've had in general, let alone mystery beers. It's very fun, subtle smokiness, nice richness to the malt side of things. That hop plays really, really well. That lagering comes through and through. Don't know where I got that vanilla on the nose. Don't know where I got that maple on the taste. I think I was trying to talk myself into something here. It is absolutely fantastic beer, and I'm fine with it. I said churros off on the ABV, a whole point plus. But, with that roasted malts and with how robust this beer drinks, I will say that this beer drinks more like a 5.5% beer as opposed to 4.2. I think that's a selling point for this beer, and I think that's definitely a fun thing to mention. And there you go. Is this one of the better smoke jams I've had? It's like, yes, Mount Rushmore status when I put it there. Value availability, don't know. Schlenkler stuff's usually pretty good when it comes to price points. So hopefully those out there in the universe who've had this or purchased this, Steven, I'm looking at you, let us know. And leave you with, if you like what will you like this beer? If you like little smoky jams. Like I said, it's as far and away as subtle as Schlenkler gets in the dark beer portion of the world. Like I said, it kind of checks out with the ABV level, but very fun beer nonetheless. Schlenkler, have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? Have you been to the brewery? All that fun stuff. Let's talk about it down there. Hopefully you all enjoyed the mystery beers. If you feel like sending it off, feel free. MadamMasterBeers.com. You reach out to me there or anywhere on socials. Instagram's the best, but anywhere I usually get to. Hopefully you're enjoying some mystery beers and smoke jams right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.